Lucas Harrington's fingers hovered over his keyboard, frozen in mid-motion as his eyes locked onto the Facebook post illuminating his monitor. The image burned into his retinas. His wife, Amara, radiant in a flowing summer dress, surrounded by strangers on a pristine bright shore beach. But it wasn't the tropical backdrop that made his blood run cold. It was the massive diamond ring glinting on her left hand, different from the one he'd given her 7 years ago. The caption beneath the photo twisted like a knife in his gut. "So happy to be surrounded by family as we celebrate this new chapter. Ring sparkle. Family." The word echoed in his mind as he studied the faces in the photo. These must be the Gray family, the wealthy resort-owning clan he'd never heard of until now. And there, with his arm wrapped possessively around Amara's waist, stood a man who could only be Grayson Gray, young, handsome, with the kind of cocky smile that screamed old money and zero responsibilities. "Sir." Lydia, his junior developer, knocked on his office door. "The client meeting starts in 5 minutes. Cancel it," Lucas said. His voice was steady despite the rage building in his chest. "Cancel everything for the rest of the day." Lydia lingered in the doorway, concern etched on her face. "Is everything all right?" "No." Lucas's eyes never left the screen. "But it will be." As soon as Lydia left, Lucas opened his banking app. The joint account he shared with Amara showed a series of large withdrawals over the past month. $5,000 here, $7,000 there, culminating in a final withdrawal of $8,000 3 days ago. Nearly $20,000 in total, drained to fund her little romantic getaway. His fingers flew across the keyboard as he accessed their account settings. Within minutes, he'd revoked Amara's access and transferred the remaining balance into a new account in his name only. Next, he pulled up the title to Amara's beloved Audi, the car he'd gifted her on their 5th anniversary. He dialed the number for the nearest luxury car dealership. "This is Lucas Harrington. I'm interested in selling a 2022 Audi RS5 Sportback. Yes, today. Cash offer." While the dealer ran the numbers, Lucas opened his contacts and scrolled to Philip Hayes, attorney at law. The phone rang twice before a sharp voice answered. Philip Hayes speaking. "Philip, it's Lucas Harrington. I need your services. How soon can you meet?" "For you, I can clear my afternoon. What's the situation?" Lucas clicked through more photos on Amara's Facebook profile. Pictures of her and Grayson at fancy restaurants, on yachts, at private beach parties. All posted while she was supposedly on a work trip to meet with clients. "I need the most ruthless divorce attorney in the city," Lucas said, "and I'm looking at your number." Philip chuckled darkly. "You've called the right person. My office, 2 o'clock. I'll be there." Lucas hung up and turned his attention back to the dealer on hold. They came back with a number, significantly less than the car's worth, but cash in hand today. "Done. I'll bring it over now." He grabbed his keys and laptop, then stopped by Lydia's desk. "I'm working remotely for the rest of the week. Forward any urgent matters to my cell." The drive to the dealership gave Lucas time to think. 7 years of marriage, dissolved by a Facebook post. He thought about all the late nights Amara had spent working on client projects, all the weekend trips to industry conferences. How many of those had been spent with Grayson? The dealer was efficient, and within an hour, Lucas had a cashier's check in hand. His next stop was a locksmith. By the time he pulled into Philip Hayes' parking lot, new keys were sitting in his pocket. Philip's office occupied the top floor of a downtown high-rise. The attorney stood as Lucas entered, extending a hand. He was in his 50s, with steel-gray hair and the kind of smile that made witnesses crack on the stand. "What brings you to my office, Mr. Harrington?" Lucas pulled out his phone and showed Philip the Facebook post. The attorney's eyebrows rose as he took in the image and caption. "Well," Philip said, settling back in his chair, "this is certainly blatant. Tell me everything." For the next hour, Lucas laid out the facts. The drained bank account, the pattern of deception, the evidence on social media. Philip took notes, occasionally asking clarifying questions. The car sale was smart, Philip said when Lucas finished, but we need to move faster. Your wife's actions, the bank withdrawals, the public announcement of engagement while still married, give us leverage. But, Philip leaned forward, there's something else you should know. When you mentioned your wife's name, it rang a bell. I had my assistant do some digging while we talked. He pulled out a file. Amara Torres, her name before she married you. She's been here before. Lucas's jaw tightened. What do you mean? 3 years before she met you, she was engaged to a man named Richard Morris, wealthy tech investor, much older. The engagement ended when he caught her with another man and discovered she'd been siphoning money from their joint accounts. The revelation hit Lucas like a physical blow, not because it surprised him. No, everything was becoming clearer now, but because he hadn't seen it sooner. She never mentioned any previous engagement, Lucas said. Of course not. Philip closed the file. Mr. Morris paid her a settlement to go away quietly. She used that money to reinvent herself. New city, new social circle. That's when she met you. Lucas stood and walked to the window, looking out over the city. Somewhere out there, Amara was probably lounging on a beach with Grayson, laughing about how she'd fooled her boring, predictable husband. What's our next move? Lucas asked. Philip smiled, a smile that had preceded countless legal victories. First, we file for divorce immediately, citing adultery and financial fraud. The evidence is overwhelming. Then, we go after everything. The house, the assets, even her business contacts. She's been using your joint accounts to fund her freelance work, correct? Lucas nodded. Good. That means we can argue her client list was built using marital assets. We'll freeze her out completely. Philip paused. But there's something else we could do. Something more comprehensive. Lucas turned from the window. I'm listening. The Gray family isn't as clean as they appear. My firm has connections. We could look into their businesses, their tax records. If they want to take what's yours, we can return the favor. A cold smile spread across Lucas's face. Do it. I want them to regret the day they ever met Amara. It won't be cheap, Philip warned. Money isn't an issue. I want them destroyed. All of them. Amara, Grayson, the entire Gray family. Philip nodded approvingly. Then let's get to work. I'll have the divorce papers ready by morning. In the meantime, he slid a business card across the desk. Call this number. It's a private investigator I trust. We'll need documentation of everything. Lucas pocketed the card and stood. One more thing. I want to know everything about Amara's past. Every skeleton. Every secret. If she's done this before, there might be others. Consider it done. Philip extended his hand again. Mr. Harrington, I think this is the beginning of a very productive partnership. As Lucas drove home, his phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. It was a photo. Amara and Grayson kissing on a yacht. The sunset painting them in golden light. Below it, a message. Thought you should see this. Oh. Lucas didn't recognize the number, but he saved the photo. More evidence. More ammunition. At home, he changed the locks and security codes, then began removing traces of Amara from the house. Her clothes went into garbage bags, her art supplies into boxes. He found her passport in her desk drawer. An oversight that would complicate her return trip. That went into the safe, along with their marriage certificate and joint property documents. His phone buzzed again, an email from Philip. Call me immediately. Found something interesting about the Grays. Lucas smiled as he dialed the number. The war was just beginning, and he intended to win. Philip Hayes's office felt different in the morning light. The attorney sat behind his massive desk, surrounded by stacks of documents and multiple computer screens displaying financial records. The Grays, Philip began, turning one screen toward Lucas, are not what they seem. Their resort empire, built on sand, literally and figuratively. Lucas leaned forward, studying the complex web of shell companies and offshore accounts displayed on the screen. Philip clicked through various documents, each revealing new layers of deception. Tax evasion, Lucas asked. That's just the beginning. Money laundering, fraudulent property deals, bribes to local officials. Roderick Gray, Grayson's father. He's made quite a few enemies over the years, but he's always managed to stay one step ahead of the authorities. Until now. Philip smiled. We've already submitted anonymous tips to the IRS and FBI. But here's where it gets interesting. He pulled up another document. Grayson Gray isn't just a spoiled rich kid. He's a liability. Multiple arrests, all buried by Daddy's lawyers. DUIs, drug possession, assault charges. Send me everything. Lucas interrupted. I want to know every weak point, every vulnerability. Already done. Check your secure email. Philip leaned back in his chair. But there's more. Remember how I said we found something about Amara's past? Lucas nodded. Well, my investigator did some digging. That settlement she got from Richard Morris, she burned through it in months. Luxury cars, expensive trips, shopping sprees. Then she started dating a series of wealthy men. Each relationship ended when they caught her cheating or discovered missing money. She's a professional. Lucas's voice was cold. Exactly. And now she's latched onto the Grays. But here's what's interesting. Philip pulled up a series of photos. These were taken 6 months ago at the gallery opening where Amara claims she first met Grayson. The photos show them in intimate conversation, but the timestamps reveal these were from 2 months before that so-called opening. They've been planning this for a while. Lucas's phone buzzed. Another message from the mysterious contact. More photos of Amara and Grayson from various states over the past 6 months. Their affair hadn't just been going on longer than Lucas thought. It had been flagrant, conducted in public places where they were sure to be seen. Your anonymous photographer has been busy, Philip observed. Who is Talia Reid, anyway? She says she's an insider, Lucas replied, scanning the message. She definitely has access to them. Philip nodded. Regardless, she's on our side. Now about next steps. The conversation turned back to strategy. How to leverage the evidence, when to release it, which authorities to involve. By the time Lucas left Philip's office, he had a clear roadmap for the complete dismantling of the Gray Empire. That evening, Lucas sat in a corner booth at a lounge called the Indigo Room, watching the door. Talia Reid arrived precisely at 8, tall, elegant, with the kind of beauty that turned heads. She slid into the booth without waiting for an invitation. Mr. Harrington, she purred. I've been looking forward to meeting you. She pulled out her phone. The photos I sent are just the beginning. I have videos, text messages, hotel receipts. Your wife and Grayson weren't exactly discreet. Why help me? Talia's perfect smile faltered slightly. Because Amara Torres, or whatever she calls herself now, needs to learn that actions have consequences. She took something from me. Now I'm helping take everything from her. What do you want in return? Access to the evidence you're gathering on the Grays. I want to be there when they fall. I can help you destroy them, Lucas. I know all their secrets, all their vulnerabilities. And I know things about Amara that would make your blood run cold. Lucas studied her for a moment. Tell me. For the next hour, Talia laid out a pattern of deception that went back years. Amara had perfected her technique. Find wealthy men, gain their trust, bleed them dry. But the Grays were different. They were her biggest target yet. She's not just after Grayson's money, Talia explained. She wants the whole empire. Roderick Gray is dying. Cancer, very hush-hush. When he goes, control of the resorts passes to his children. Grayson's the youngest, and the easiest to manipulate. And Amara plans to take control through him. Lucas finished for her, by marrying him or staying close until Roderick dies. Exactly. But she made a mistake this time. She got sloppy, left evidence. Talia smiled. And now she's going to pay. Lucas's phone buzzed. An email from Philip. The first anonymous tips about the Gray's financial dealings had hit their targets. The IRS was launching an investigation. It's starting, he told Talia, who raised her glass. To revenge. The next morning, Lucas received another call from Philip. We need to talk, the lawyer said. There's something else you need to know about Amara's past. What now? Not over the phone. Come to my office, and brace yourself. This is bigger than we thought. As Lucas drove to Philip's office, his phone lit up with notifications. The first wave of stories about the Gray family's financial irregularities had hit the media. Roderick Gray's carefully constructed empire was beginning to crack. Somewhere in Bright Shore, Amara's perfect new life was about to crumble. The morning headlines screamed across every major news outlet. Gray family resorts under federal investigation. Accompanying photos showed IRS agents entering the company's headquarters, carrying boxes of documents. Lucas read the coverage with satisfaction from his home office, but his mind was on the bomb Philip had dropped yesterday. Amara's past wasn't just checkered, it was criminal. Before reinventing herself, she'd been involved in a sophisticated identity theft ring, targeting wealthy men through dating apps and social clubs. She'd avoided prosecution by turning on her partners, but the records were sealed. It had taken all of Philip's connections to uncover the truth. Lucas's phone buzzed. A text from Talia. Have you seen Amara's Instagram? He hadn't. Opening the app, he found his soon-to-be ex-wife's latest post. A defiant selfie with Grayson, both of them lounging by an infinity pool. The caption read, "They can try to tear us down, but true love always wins. #unbothered #living my best life." Lucas's laugh was hollow. The comments section was already filling with questions about the Gray family investigation, but Amara was deleting them as fast as they appeared. His phone rang. Philip again. Turn on Channel 7. Now. Lucas flipped on the TV. A reporter stood outside the Gray family's flagship resort, microphone in hand. Sources say the investigation extends beyond tax issues to allegations of money laundering and fraud. The Gray family has denied all wrongdoing, but their stock has already dropped 30% since the news broke. The camera cut to Grayson storming out of the resort, shielding his face from photographers. Amara was nowhere to be seen. This is just the beginning, Philip said over the phone. But we have a problem. Amara's filed a restraining order against you. Lucas sat up straighter. On what grounds? She's claiming emotional abuse and harassment, says you've been stalking her, threatening her. She even provided screenshots of threatening messages. Obviously fake, but it'll take time to prove that. She's trying to control the narrative. Exactly. And she's got help. Remember her friend from the gallery scene? Ava Chen. She's been spreading stories about you in your professional circles, claiming you have anger issues, that you've been unstable since the separation. Lucas's jaw clenched. They're trying to destroy my reputation. That's not all. Amara's lawyer is demanding an emergency hearing for spousal support. She's claiming you left her destitute, that she can't access any of her assets. Because those assets were stolen from me. We know that, but it'll take time to prove. In the meantime, we need to counterattack. I've already filed our response to the restraining order, including Talia's evidence of the affair, but we need more. Lucas thought for a moment. Ava Chen. What do we know about her? He heard Philip typing. Give me an hour. My investigator's good at finding skeletons. While he waited, Lucas packed a bag. The restraining order would be served soon, and he needed to be ready. He chose a small corporate apartment downtown, close to his office, secure building, no connection to Amara. His phone buzzed with another Instagram notification. Amara had posted again, this time a tearful video. I never wanted it to end this way, she sniffled. But when someone shows you who they really are, believe them. #domestic abuse survivor, #speaking my truth. The comments were flooded with supportive messages, heart emojis, offers of help. Amara's performance was perfect. The vulnerable victim, the brave survivor. Philip called back. We've got Ava. 3 years ago, she ran a charity scam, raised money for a children's hospital that didn't exist. The police investigated, but she paid her way out of charges. We can prove it. Release it. Lucas said. All of it. Already done. It'll hit the news cycle tomorrow morning. But there's more. She's been embezzling from her current employer. We have proof of that too. Lucas smiled coldly. Send it to her employer first. Let her deal with that before the media circus hits. Done. Now, about the emergency hearing. Tomorrow at 2. Judge Rivas's courtroom. She's tough but fair. We have evidence of the bank withdrawals, the affair, everything. But Amara will play the victim card hard. Let her, Lucas said, voice firm. The more lies she tells, the harder she'll fall. The next morning, Ava Chen's scandal exploded across social media. Her employer, a prestigious art gallery, announced she was under investigation for financial irregularities. Hours later, the story of her fake charity broke. Amara posted another video defending her friend, but the damage was done. Ava's credibility was destroyed, and with it, her accusations against Lucas began to crumble. At the emergency hearing, Amara played her role perfectly. Tears, trembling voice, tales of emotional abuse. But Philip was prepared. He presented evidence of the bank withdrawals, the affair, the fake threatening messages. Your Honor, Philip addressed the court. We have proof that Ms. Harrington's claims are not only false but malicious. She and her paramour, Mr. Gray, orchestrated this campaign to deflect from their own actions. Judge Rivas reviewed the evidence carefully. Motion for emergency spousal support denied. Furthermore, I'm issuing a temporary freeze on all disputed assets, pending a full hearing. Amara's composed mask cracked slightly. Without access to the money she'd taken, her bright shore paradise with Grayson would quickly become very uncomfortable. Outside the courthouse, reporters waited. Amara tried to give her practiced victim speech, but the questions were different now. Ms. Harrington, can you comment on your relationship with Grayson Gray? Is it true you drained your joint accounts before filing the restraining order? What about your previous engagement to Richard Morris? Amara fled to her waiting car, but the damage was done. Her perfect victim narrative was unraveling. Back in his corporate apartment, Lucas watched the news coverage with satisfaction. His phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. Opening it, he found a video. Amara and Grayson arguing beside the resort pool, her gesturing angrily, him storming off. The caption read, "Trouble in Paradise. There's more where this came from." Lucas saved the video. Talia was proving to be a valuable ally, even if he didn't trust her completely. His phone rang again. "Philip, we have a problem," the lawyer said. "Someone's hacking your accounts." It started without warning. Lucas's work email account began sending explicit spam to clients. His personal accounts were compromised, spamming contacts with hateful manifestos. Then his credit cards were maxed out on suspicious purchases. His bank account showed transfers he hadn't made. Someone was systematically trying to destroy his life. "It's coming from Bright Shore," his cybersecurity team reported. Multiple servers, all traced back to Gray Resort properties. His phone rang, a cold, professional voice on the other end. "Mr. Harrington, having computer troubles." "Who is this?" "My name is Roman Vale. I handled special projects for Roderick Gray. And now you're handling his revenge. Let's call it maintaining balance. You destroyed a man's life's work. Did you think there wouldn't be consequences?" Lucas's voice remained calm. "Your boss is in federal custody. His son's facing prison. Their empire is in ruins. And you think hacking my email will change that? Oh, this is just the beginning. You took everything from them. Now I'm going to take everything from you." The line went dead. Minutes later, Philip called, sounding alarmed. "Someone's leaked emails suggesting you knew about the Gray family's illegal activities, that you helped them hide money. They're fake. Obviously, but they're well crafted. The feds will have to investigate. Lucas's office door opened. His boss. Lucas, the board is concerned about these allegations. We're placing you on administrative leave, pending investigation. I understand, Lucas said, controlling his fury. After his boss left, he called Philip back. Find out everything about Romanvale. Already on it. He's ex-military, worked Black Ops. The kind of man who solves problems. Permanently. He's trying to destroy your reputation. No, Lucas corrected. He's trying to destroy me. As if on cue, the attempts escalated. Lucas's car brakes failed, fortunately at low speed. Then a gas leak was discovered in his apartment. Accidents that could have been lethal. This is his pattern, Philip warned. He makes deaths look like accidents. Lucas pulled up his special contact list, people who owed him favors, who operated in shadows deeper than veils. I need everything on Romanvale. Background, movements, weaknesses, whatever you can find. The responses trickled in over the next hours. Vale had been Roderick Gray's fixer for 15 years. When problems arose, competitors, whistleblowers, nosy journalists, they tended to disappear. Lucas's burner phone buzzed. Talia again. Vale's dangerous. He made 3 of Roderick's enemies vanish last year alone. Can you get close to him? Lucas typed back. Already tried. He's too smart for that. But he has a weakness. A daughter in Palm City, the only person he truly cares about. Send me everything you have on her, Lucas replied. He'll kill you if he catches you using his daughter against him. Then I better not get caught. The following day, Vale struck again, this time forging documents to implicate Lucas in a massive fraud. But Lucas had a plan in motion. His contacts located Vale's daughter, Alexandra, 19, a student at Palm City University. More importantly, they found her connection to the Gray Empire. Lucas's phone rang, an unknown number. Sleep well, Mr. Harrington. Actually, I've been looking into your daughter, Mr. Vale. Alexandra, isn't it? Interesting how she got into Palm City University. Those Gray family donations must have helped. Does she know her tuition was paid with laundered money? You wouldn't dare. Lucas sent a text containing copies of Alexandra's admission records and financial documents showing the Gray connection, all neatly packaged for federal investigators. Still think I'm bluffing? A long pause. What do you want? End this. Now, or your daughter's academic career becomes part of the Gray investigation. You're bluffing. Try me. Silence. Then, this isn't over, Harrington. Yes, it is. Because if anything happens to me, any accidents, any leaked emails, everything goes to the FBI. And Alexandra's future goes with it. The line went dead. Minutes later, Lucas's email access was restored, his credit cards unblocked. The surveillance photos stopped. Philip called an hour later. Vale's gone. Private jet to Switzerland this morning. And the evidence against me. Discredited. The feds found proof the emails were fabricated. Lucas leaned back in his chair, allowing himself a small smile. Vale had thought himself a master of destruction, but he'd forgotten the first rule of warfare. Know your enemy's weaknesses. Lucas's phone buzzed. Amara's number again. He let it go to voicemail. Lucas, please. Her voice was small, broken. I know I hurt you. I know I messed up. But I have nothing left. No money. No place to go. Please. I'm sorry. He deleted the message without a second thought. Philip called again near midnight. Roderick Gray is taking a plea deal. 15 years in federal prison. Forfeiture of assets. Millions in fines. Grayson faces similar charges. The Gray Empire is finished. Lucas checked his email. The media requests were pouring in. Everyone wanted the story of the betrayed husband who exposed a criminal empire. He deleted them all. His burner phone buzzed. A message from Talia. Grayson's in custody. Amara's alone at the resort. No money, no friends, no options. Lucas typed back, "Keep watching her. Let me know if she tries anything." Hours later, Talia replied, "She's checking out. The hotel's demanding payment she can't make. Want me to help her?" "No," Lucas responded. "Let her face the consequences." The next morning's headlines told the full story. Gray Empire crumbles. CEO and son arrested. Federal agents raid Gray Resort's property. Billions in illegal funds traced to offshore accounts. Lucas read them all over his morning coffee. Satisfaction coursed through him. The mighty Gray family, brought low by their own arrogance and corruption. His phone buzzed. Philip again. Turn on CNBC. Roderick's wife is making a statement. Lucas flipped on the TV to see Caroline Gray, elegant even in crisis, standing before a wall of microphones. "My husband and son's actions have shocked and devastated our family," she read from a prepared statement. "We are cooperating fully with authorities and will work to make restitution to all affected parties." The camera caught her glancing off screen, and Lucas noticed Amara standing in the background, trying to look supportive. The comments on the live stream were brutal. Gold digger got what she deserved, from trophy wife to jailbird's girlfriend. Philip texted, "Caroline Gray is filing for divorce, trying to protect her personal assets." The empire wasn't just crumbling, it was imploding. And Lucas had orchestrated all of it. His work phone rang. His boss again. "Lucas, the feds want to talk to anyone who had access to the Gray's accounts. We're cooperating fully. I'm already in touch with them," Lucas assured him. "Everything will be fine." He hung up and turned back to his laptop. More videos to release, more evidence to leak. The Gray family had considered themselves untouchable, above the law. They were wrong. His phone buzzed once more. Amara's number. He let it go to voicemail, then listened as her tearful voice begged him to reconsider. He ignored it. That was the moment his final adversary appeared. A letter from his own attorney. "Lucas," Philip said on the phone, "we've just uncovered sealed documents from Amara's old ring. It's worse than we thought." Lucas realized there was still more to learn, and the war might yet have another battle. But for now, the Grays were finished, and Amara was alone, reaping the consequences of her betrayal. 2 days later, Amara herself called from a cheap motel. "We need to talk. It's about Grayson. He gave me something you need to know about." Lucas's voice was ice. "I have nothing to say to you. You might change your mind after seeing this." In the end, curiosity won. He agreed to meet her at a cafe. Amara looked small, diminished, no designer clothes, no polished makeup. She pushed a flash drive across the table. "Grayson gave me this before he was arrested. Said it was insurance. If you ever tried to destroy me completely, I was supposed to use it." Lucas didn't touch the drive. "And you're telling me this because—" "I'm done," she whispered. "I just want a normal life again. I have nothing left. No money, no job, my credit's ruined. Take it. Do what you want with it. But please, help me start over." Lucas finally picked up the drive. "How much?" Amara winced. $50,000. That's all I need to give a small place, rebuild." He cut her off. $50,000. Fine. In exchange, you sign away all claims to our marital assets, agree to a non-disclosure agreement, and disappear from my life forever. She hesitated, then nodded slowly. "Okay. Say it. For the record." He tapped his phone, recording. "Yes, we have a deal." Satisfied, he pocketed the drive. "My lawyer will draw up the papers. Once you sign, you get your money. Then we're done." "Lucas," she said as he stood to leave, "I really did love you, at first." He paused, not turning back. "No, Amara. You loved what I could give you. There's a difference." He left her alone. By the end of that day, Philip had the documents ready. Amara signed them in trembling silence. With the final stroke of her pen, she walked out of Lucas's life. The Gray Empire lay in ruins, and anyone who tried to help them was gone or disgraced. Months passed. Lucas rebuilt his career, stronger, wealthier. A major tech firm, Titan Innovations, recruited him to head their cybersecurity division. The salary dwarfed his old one. His merciless tactics in unmasking the Greys had caught the right kind of attention. Then came one last threat, a private message from Talia Reid. She'd found new evidence that Amara might be planning to write a tell-all book. Lucas responded calmly. He still had the signed NDA, plus a backup of every incriminating file Amara had tried to use against him. One move from her, and he would bury her again. Over the next 5 years, Lucas rose to power in Silicon Valley. The Greys were gone, scattered to prisons or obscure corners of the world. Amara drifted from city to city, unable to secure steady work in design, always finding her path blocked by someone who answered to Lucas Harrington. Talia flitted off to chase new opportunities, but never forgot to occasionally remind Lucas that old secrets die hard. And Lucas, he sat behind a series of monitors in a sleek office overlooking a futuristic skyline, orchestrating the flow of information like a silent puppeteer. No one would ever betray him again. He'd seen how easily love and loyalty could be twisted. Now he used that knowledge as a weapon, building walls no one could breach. If any of his old enemies dared to resurface, he would be waiting. He had destroyed the Greys, neutralized Roman Vale, exiled Amara. He was patient, calculating, and utterly uncompromising. It was the price he had paid for victory, the loss of trust, the eternal vigilance, the constant hum of servers and data at his command. He wouldn't have it any other way.